Hello, my name is Dr. Joseph. Thank you so much for joining me. I read my Bible every day, and so I want to share a book that arose out of two life-changing habits, which is reading the Bible and regular routines. That book is called A Year of Intentional Living, which I have here. It is a straightforward sort of guide on living life on purpose, is full with timeless wisdom as well as straightforward practices to do so and live intentionally, get your best life. That book is available on major retail websites, and I will put a link down in the description below so you can get your copy today. So, on to why we are here today. I have recently completed going through the book of Judges. There, I revisited the story of Samson and Delilah. Now, you may think that you know what that's about, the loss of strength through betrayal, but I wanted to chat about some things that maybe aren't focused on when you hear it about it in sermons or wherever else you're learning about these things. So the story begins in Judges 16:4, where it says, "Sometime later, he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah." This may seem trivial, but that word Sorek has actually a meaning in the Hebrew that means choice wine. This becomes important when we note that Samson was designated a Nazarite since before his birth. Nazarite meaning set apart or consecrated, and they had vows that they had to uphold, which is not to cut their hair, never to have fermented drink, and also not to deal with corpses or things that were dead because they wanted to be set apart for the things of God. So that leaves us to wonder, why is Samson hanging out in the Valley of Sorek, the Valley of Choice Wine? That is kind of a hint to his character and how he got to this place beforehand. Because we know early on in Judges, Samson went with his family down to sort of the same region and he killed a lion and later ate honey out of the corpse of this lion and fed it to his family who also were going by the same oath. And he didn't tell them that he did this. He was deceiving them even from then, knowing that he was in this valley that he maybe shouldn't have been in. Gives us an idea that he probably wasn't of the soberest mind and capable of setting boundaries and committing to the vows that he was born into. So then in verse 5, we see that the rulers of the Philistines get word that Samson is in love with Delilah, so they go to bribe her in order to find out the secret to his weakness. Then here's the unbelievable part. Samson is hanging out with Delilah, and not once, not twice, but three times she gets asked for or begs for the secrets to his strength, and he makes up a story, finds himself bound in the same ways that he detailed to her in the story, but he stays with her. This is not the first time that Samson was with a woman that he might have some mistrust for. He was married, or maybe is married, to a Philistine woman who sold him out to her tribe again. And here he is again with Delilah and ensnared by the lies that he told her about his strength. So then, finally, at the fourth try, after weeping and wailing and manipulating him by saying, questioning his love, things like that, Delilah gets the real truth, which is that his strength comes through his hair. Remember, that's the symbol for the covenant with God, the outward symbol. And it gets cut off, and he loses his strength and is captured by the Philistines, and we know how that goes. It's interesting though how that happened because it says that with such nagging and prodding him day after day until he was sick to death of it. So he told her everything. Those are verses 16 and a portion of 17. It basically is saying he was so stressed out about it that he gave away the secrets basically to his life. is. This is a warning. This is to let people know that you can't be ruled by your emotions because it's going to lead you down to a path of destruction. And also to warn you that there are patterns to the route that you're taking. Samson was on a path of breaking all these vows that he made as a Nazarite, and he was dealing with people who his parents had warned him against because they warned him about Philistine women, but he kept going after them. And then he was met with this end. Samson, being a man who lacked discipline, who lacked boundaries, who was not integral, he was deceptive, and all of that he got away with for a very long time. But then it eventually caught up with him. It's a warning to choose better and to make sure that you're working on yourself so that you don't get trapped in these cycles with counterfeit love, thinking that it's the real deal when it's manipulative, deceptive. It doesn't build you up, but it gives some sort of comfort like the real thing, but it's not the real thing. And it leads to destruction. I feel like that story is so relatable. I mean, I've been there where I didn't understand something, but it might feel good, sometimes. And maybe that was worth continuing with it during that season because I didn't know any better. But not every good thing is for you, and you need to be interrogating every relationship and every, especially major decision and scenario you're in to make sure that you are on the right path for the life that you're trying to live. And I believe that's what the story of Samson and Delilah was also trying to share with us. And that's why I wrote a blog about it, which you can check out on my website, double.j.com. Thank you so much for listening. Again, make sure you get a copy of your book, A Year of Intentional Living. Check out my website for other services. I do speaking and coaching. And make sure you like and subscribe in order to stay connected and informed about how to live your best life. Be well.